Welcome to Business Coaching Secrets with Karl Bryan. If you want to attract new high-end coaching clients, fill live events, and build a wildly profitable coaching practice where business owners pay, stay, and refer, you've come to the right place. In this podcast, Karl provides his keys to the kingdom for finding and signing high-paying clients and building the coaching business of your dreams. Here we go.
Welcome to Business Coaching Secrets. This is Karl Bryan coming at you. I'm Sans Road Dog today. It's his daughter's birthday, so I said, big shoots, don't worry about it. I will fly the flag on my own today. So here we are, and let's see how this goes. So Road Dog didn't have a lot of notice. He sent me in some questions, so I'm going to freestyle a little bit. I hope that works for you guys. So let's get straight into it. Question number 1, verbatim. Follow up from last podcast. I was meaning to ask, what's the difference, in your opinion, of scarcity versus urgency when presenting your offers? Okay, 2. I think we were talking about offers from the last podcast. That's where that comes from. So that was going to be like a follow-up question he didn't get. So, okay, what, in your opinion, of scarcity versus urgency? What's the difference, in your opinion, of scarcity versus urgency? So, look, let me just tell you this. They'll increase sales with 100% certainty, but people that tend to not be good at sales tend to be a little bit scared of scarcity and urgency. So let me just tell you this. You're listening to this, you're a business coach, you're a business consultant, you're a marketing coach, a marketing consultant, a digital marketer, etc., right? An accountant. But at the end of the day, you're doing consulting or coaching in some fashion. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So you have got inbuilt scarcity just to make you feel a little bit better, because you could only take on, let's just say, you had superpowers and could take on 30 clients, 30 individual business owners at once. Again, that would be a big client list, and you're going to be busy. It's different doing executive coaching and looking after individuals. But at the end of the day, let's say you do 30. More realistically, let's say you got 20 clients active. You charged all $2,000 a month, $24,000 a year. That would be $480,000 gross. A good percentage of that, like 70 to 80%, should be sticking. So $480,000 with 70 to 80% margins would be good. But the bottom line is, if you only have 20 one-to-one coaching spots, guess what? You have got scarcity, right? So I just want you to feel comfortable. So if you agree with that, and I believe that you should, you maybe don't, and that's fine. But if that's the case for you, then you should be, let's just assume that is a tool in your sales tool belt. It's one that you should be using, not abusing. You don't have to be hokey pokey about it, but at the end of the day, it will increase, like bringing scarcity and urgency into your sales process will increase sales. And you might not be comfortable with it. I would dare say you should really get your head around that. As a frame, I want you to think, scarcity is quantity availability, and then urgency is time availability, right? So scarcity, quantity, urgency, time sensitivity, right? So, and urgency is a frame. Urgency gets more people to buy, and then scarcity will get people to pay more. I believe it's Alex Hormozy that I may have heard phrased that succinctly from. But at the end of the day, that's urgency gets people to buy, and scarcity gets them to pay more. I think that's very good. Another thing that I would encourage you to thinking about, if you've ever seen a high-profile internet marketer that does things well, you're going to see that when they sell things, when he or she sells things, they present bonuses. Or certainly, I'm thinking, I remember Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. They say they broke the internet, yada, yada, yada. I mean, had a very successful launch. And they had bonuses tied into buy today, buy this week, buy within this time frame. Pull the trigger, plug your credit card into the website, and you will get these bonuses. And then the people, the affiliates, we'll call them, the ones that were, selling that program on their behalf and getting a percentage of the takings, they also had bonuses. And then the bonuses were how they separated themselves from the other offers. Like, don't buy it straight from Tony and Dean because you won't get these offers. Don't buy it from Russell Brunson because you won't get, he's got his offer package, but it's not nearly as valuable and as good as mine, right? So basically bonuses is how they separated themselves. What am I getting at? Bonuses can be really, really powerful to use when closing. And then the best bonus is to give them something they will need if they're successful with the thing that they already bought, right? Like, okay, example, we help people build business coaching practices. Okay, then what happens? Once they get too successful, what did I just say? You got 20 one-to-one spots. Once you max that out, in order, what I mean? You what do you want to do? Have a glass ceiling and then not be able to get through it and just hold steady at 20 clients? Well, progress equals happiness. I assure you right now, if you've only got 5 clients, you think at 20, you'd be so happy and that would be amazing. Believe me, when you get to 20 clients, you're going to suddenly want 25. You're going to want to grow your business. You're going to want to grow your revenues. You're going to want to push forward, right? So if that were to be the case, we have a program that if you're successful with building your coaching program, that you can build a team of 10 coaches. Well, that would be we don't use that as a bonus, to be clear, but I'm trying to give you a frame. So our clients, once they're successful, a team of coaches makes sense. So that's an example of when you're thinking about a bonus, what would happen once they're successful, right? Because there's a good chance that you're not listening to this and wanting to build, a firm, or your clients, more to the point, won't want to be building a firm. They'll want to be doing something else, right? So let's say that you help a business owner bring in leads. The bonus could be then to help them build a sales team. And then once they build the sales team, a bonus for that would be how to manage the sales team, right? Or if you help them grow their business, and you're a business coach, you probably do. Well, what about a bonus of putting them through bulletproof, helping them build a bulletproof management team? And then once they build the bulletproof management team, helping them manage the bulletproof management team. You're getting, or maybe it's going to be operations, but you see the way success with your thing of growing a business, a natural extension of that would be management. And then that becomes your bonus and training, or deliverables in and around that. Anyways, that kind of falls under scarcity and urgency. Not really, but at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is get deals done, I would dare say, with that. So that can help you do it. Moving on. Okay, so Road Dog has put a note here. I was going to ask you some rapid fire questions. We did that in the past and it worked well. Okay, so he's got rapid fire, how to get a client in 7 days, how to get a JV in 7 days, how to get results for your client in 7 days, and so on. So let's start. And then he's got, hopefully I'm doing a horrific job of channeling my inner Road Dog here. But anyway, so he goes, so the first question he was going to ask in the rapid fire, he probably wouldn't have read out what I just said, but anyways, you need a client in 7 days. You need a coaching client in 7 days. What do you do? Okay, boom. Need a client. Okay, so look, I got to establish the little red arrow you are here, right? I want to assess the situation. 7 days is not a lot of time, right? So question would be, am I in a city? Am I in a small town? Am I in a rural area? Am I in a big city? Am I in a small city? Am I in a big town? Am I in a small town? All of this would adjust the answer slightly. Again, I'd want to assess my current, the dynamic of where I'm at. Like live event mastery, if you guys have followed us for any period of time, you know that I talk about this constantly. We do that with our clients. Doing a local live event consistently is like bulletproof for coaches. Let's assume 7 days isn't enough time. And by the way, I do not believe that. I used to actually say that you could drop me in any town with a cell phone and $100, and I would have a local live event filled by Thursday, and I would have multiple high-end coaching clients by Friday afternoon. Right? Again, like not 7 days, but actually 5 days, and I could totally do that. Have totally done that. And by the way, you might recognize that from drop me in any city with $100 and I will buy a piece of real estate with no money down, something to that effect. It's, did a spin of that and boom. But 7 days, let's assume that you don't have the experience to pull off a local live event in 7 days. Then I wouldn't advise that, right? But if you've done lots of them and you wanted to be as aggressive as I would, believe me, when I did that, working so hard, you've got no idea. Like at the end of that week, I had a very, very good sleep and not a lot of sleep during the week whilst putting it together, right? You might not be that aggressive and willing to work that hard. That's fine. But you could do it. Direct mail, again, not enough time. Like we teach like a magazine interview process that works really, really well. Podcast interview, same idea. Possibly not enough time to pull that off, let's assume, because you got to organize the interview, get them there, turn around the situation a little bit where they go, help me do that. So here's what I would do. I have to get a client in 7 days, start with my warm network. I'd contact them with an offer to add value. Again, a good reason to contact me is not because you need a client. The reason you contact me is to add value. You've got something to tell me, something you're excited about, something you think that's going to be amazing for me, something that you think I could add value to. Do you know what I mean? Like you're reaching out to me for a reason, not because you want to make a sale, right? Very important. So as an example, let's just say you got exposed to our software, and that software allowed you to find any business owner $100,000 in 45 minutes without them spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising. You're looking for some test pilots. You're looking for some guinea pigs. You're looking for some beta testers. Do you know, would you be interested in letting me rip you through my software? And do you know any other business owners? And you're just asking friends, by the way. Do you know a business owner that you think might be interested in this? And the answer is that if you reach out to 50 of them, before you start reaching out, make a list of 50 and then start reaching out. Don't start reaching out and then see how you go, right? Because you might get a little bit frustrated. You might get a bad, somebody not responding that you feel like should have. Do you know what I mean? Like you kind of get knocked off your game a little bit. Do a list of 50, 100% commit to contact all 50 of those folks, and then see what happens. But I pretty much guarantee they'd put you in front of somebody. And if you got in front of, let's say with 50 people, you were able to get in front of 25 people, because believe me, some people will give you more than one referral. Some friends, like I know multiple business owners, they'd all love it. Get in front of 25 people, you'd absolutely have a client. You'd have multiple and maybe many, depending upon your talents, and your ability to deploy. So anyway, that's one of the things I would do, my warm network. I would also go to a networking function. Again, said this many a times in the past. I'll say it many times in the future. If you're going to like BNI and that sort of thing, that's the sandbox, and that, your bad business clients, generally speaking, tend to hang out at like BNI type events. So I want to go to a higher echelon. But that being said, it didn't say to get me an amazing client. It didn't say get me a $50,000, $100,000 coaching client. It said get me a client. So I'd go to a networking function. What I would do differently than what maybe you would do or somebody else might do is that I would have a pre-networking game plan. I would have a at the networking game plan, and I would have a post-networking game plan, all established before I went. Very important, before I went. So in other words, what happens? You go to networking, you get a bunch of business cards, come home, stare at them and go, what am I going to do with these things? Well, if you already had your reply and you already had your offer and you already had your game plan in place, and it was just a matter of going to the networking function so that you could deploy on your post-networking game plan, wouldn't that work a little bit better? So pre-plan is what's my game plan? Have a look at maybe some of the attendees that you assume are going to be coming. Maybe call the person that's running it and say, hey, I just want to prepare myself. It's the first time I'm coming. What business owners can I expect to be in the room? Prepare definitely your elevator pitch, deliver, maybe a couple pre-canned stories, pre-canned examples, pre-canned material that you're going to deliver. That's, going to add value to the people you're speaking to. But also, I wrote an email about this. Want to know how to suck at networking, like royally suck? It's 2 words, be boring, right? You don't want to be boring. What's the opposite of boring? Look, having great stories is the opposite of boring. Being intelligent is the opposite of boring. So I'd have some of that canned, right? And then I would go and I would deploy, and I got to be confident. What I don't want to do at the meetings, I don't want to get stuck in one conversation and not be able to get out. So I'll have a get out plan, and a dramatic, I should be able to easily get out of that conversation, but in a dramatic one where I just can't get away from somebody, and I'm laughing because there's a situation that I was in once. I was like, holy cow, right? Just couldn't get out of it. But, look, you got to go to the bathroom, right? You're going to go get yourself a glass of water. You left something over here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, have a game plan, and then have your post material. Trade show, maybe there's a trade show, maybe there's not, but I can tell you trade shows can be great places to get clients. But I would have a pre-meeting game plan, an at-meeting game plan, and a post-meeting game plan. And maybe you're going to present in 7 days. You're not going to have time to get a stand-up and that sort of stuff, and it would be unrealistic to think that there's one literally going to be on Monday or Tuesday. You know what I mean? Like straight away, it's probably going to be like in a month or 2 months or 3 months, whatever. But going to a trade show where other people are presenting, you can absolutely get clients there. I would look at people who are advertising locally. Again, the question here, guys, that I'm posed with is how would I get a client in 7 days? And I can totally guarantee if I wanted a client in 7 days, I guarantee I'd work real hard and I would completely give myself to the process. And I would work. I want you to picture somebody like a professional athlete in the gym going ruthlessly hard in the gym. Like that's the level. That's what I would bring, right? Sweat dripping off of me. When I'm done my day would be the expectation. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't kind of be mailing it in and fluffing about. I mean, I'd be going all in. Anyway, so ads, right? I'd have a pre-game plan, an at game plan, and a post-game plan. But anybody advertising, like there's Groupon type stuff online. There's old school Valpak coupons you're getting in the mail. I guarantee it. There's the online directory. There's the industry mag. There's the local mag. There's the local newspaper. There's the radio station, like the local, you don't want national, I mean? You're not looking for like satellite radio. You're looking for local radio stations with local businesses that are advertising, right? Sports stadium sponsorship, at the ice hockey games, there's advertising on the boards and the walls. At the baseball stadium, and the outfield wall, there's going to be ads there. So I'm looking for people who are advertising. These are people, and more to the point, people who are actively advertising in a way where they're trying to bring in a return. That, just because my kid might be playing on a baseball team, and that's why I've got an ad up, but I might not be the greatest prospect. But somebody, advertising in the online directory or the industry magazine this month, right now, the local newspaper, right here, right now, would be a better target. There's ads. If you go to the sports stadium and you're taking a pee, you're standing there looking at the wall, there's almost always an advertisement nowadays, depending upon the size of the venue. Okay, well, who's advertising? If it's a small, you're going to get these in smaller local stadiums. The ads are going to be the landscaper, painter, butcher, baker, candlestick maker. And if you're going to watch the Yankees, you're not going to see anybody locally. The landscaper is most definitely not able to advertise. Just be way too expensive and be a bad decision, right? To advertise there, because their audience is going to be way, landscaping. You only work in a certain area. So I don't think, going to Yankee Stadium would be a great idea. Hopefully you're getting that. I would also go to call businesses for sale. Again, I'd have a pregame plan at and then post, but businesses for sale. If somebody's trying to sell their business for $300,000, I get no idea their name or their industry, but I know that they'd love $450,000. I know that they'd love to get that deal done. Well, one of the ways you get deals done is that if I was going to sell a house, I would absolutely stage the house. And the other thing I would do is pay a professional photographer to come in and take the photos. Anybody who's selling a house and doesn't pay a photographer to come in and take professional photos is crazy. They don't understand sales. A picture is worth what? 1,000 words. What is an ad for a house? A bunch of words. Make the photos unbelievable, and then watch what happens. And you will get more people interested. You will get more showings, and you will ultimately, in most cases, get more for your house. And by the way, you'll sell it. Okay, so if you agree with that staging and then making sure that your ad has got the right pictures, then what about when you're selling a business? What does the picture look like for that business? And without seeing it, I'm going to predict that it's pretty average. Well, help them with that. They're not thinking like this, and the local business broker probably is not giving them this kind of guidance, right? So what you want to be thinking that is staging their business. When I go to their website, what does it look like? Is their website super sexy and like awesome with wicked photos and, you know what I mean, really good copy and like interesting and entertaining and like kind of captivates me a little bit? Does it feel a little bit magnetic, or is it like totally lame? Well, let me tell you, it doesn't take that. Without meeting the landscaping company trying to sell their local business, I don't need to go to I don't need to go to their website to know that it's not going to impress me. And by the way, maybe it will, but I don't. I play percentages and I don't play anomalies. I pay percentages, and 90%, 98% chance the website's going to suck. Their marketing materials are going to suck. They don't even have them, right? Does their website look like their brochure, which looks like their magazine ad, which looks like their business card, which looks like the landing page, which looks like the website, which looks like everything else? And the answer is no, right? That's why one of the things we've done for a long time is built marketing turnkeys. The coaches that work with us get turnkey marketing built in about 125 different categories of business. And then there's about 50 that are really built out in what we call a marketing turnkey. Everything is consistent. Everything is tight. Everything is offer driven. And, you know, everything again is market dominating position, whereby, you know, it's about standing out and solving a problem as opposed to, you know, better, quicker, you know, more experience. Like, been in business for 25 years, right? It's just, who cares, right? Like no one cares you've been in business for 25 years. Like, maybe, yes, that says that you have a little bit more credibility and you've been around the block. But let me tell you, that's not the kind of thing they go, wow, they've been around for 25 years, I'm calling. We want to be a lot more impressive than that. We want to stand out. Like, again, if you had a daycare and I had a daycare, my daycare was an accelerated learning center where the kids that came to my daycare would expect to go into grade 1 with a grade 2 reading, writing, and arithmetic ability. Do you see how that helps me stand out, right? If I was going to build a school, I would, you know, what do local kids do? Like, it would be football school, a baseball school, a hockey school, a gymnastics school. But I would like be taking kids and I'd be charging them a premium, and it'd be a private school, and they'd be paying, you know, $10,000 to $50,000 a year, maybe $100,000 a year. That would be a bit excessive for. No, I'm not talking college here. I'm talking high school. But kids were playing hockey for 3 hours a day and then doing math, English, and social studies, etc. around that. I don't know. Does that sound like something that would be entertaining to you? I can tell you, if you got a kid in a family that wants to make the NHL, that would be probably really attractive. But anyways, I got off the track. So businesses for sale, market dominating position. You know what I mean? Like help them, you know, stage. I want you to think real estate, stage their business. By the way, do way better than that. Go to their financials and jack up their marketing, jack up their conversion, jack up their fulfillment. And then, like, businesses are bought, not sold. Think of that as a frame. Businesses are bought, not sold. Very important, right? Again, think of a picture is worth what? 1,000 words. When I go to their pictures, are they lame? Just do that, and it will be a step forward. Do that with your regular coaching clients, by the way. And I would call members of the Chamber of Commerce if I was getting desperate. Again, that's a bit of the sandbox generally. But that being said, you know, they're right there. They join the chamber. Why? People join the chamber because they want to grow a company. Call members of BNI. Again, understanding that's very much the sandbox, the realtor, the mortgage broker, the insurance guy or gal. Nothing wrong with those, but generally speaking, they don't tend to be the best coaching clients. We actually talked about that on the pre-show today at length with my man, who his last name is Mojo. True story. Mojo. First thing I said, is that your real last name? And he's like, yep. I'm like, very jealous. I'm the man with 2 first names, and his last name is Mojo. How cool is that? But anyway, so and then, you know, there's the higher level networking. There's the yacht club. There's the golf course, etc. Way better. But again, there might not be the opportunity. I got to get this done in 7 days. These are the types of things that I'd be doing. But if you needed to get a coaching client in 7 days, I promise you, remember, don't do your best. You got to do what it takes. That's the gap. That's the difference. Anyways, okay, so back to rapid fire. I'm guessing Road Dog would have cut me off there. He would have wanted me to answer that maybe more succinctly, tighter, but hey, it's my show today, so I'm going to do as I so choose. Next question. Need a JV in 7 days. What do you do? And again, Road Dog might have spiced up the way that was worded a little bit, but he's not here, so I'm reading it verbatim, and there it is. Need a JV in 7 days. A joint venture. This is a partner. This is somebody who's going to, a partnership where they're going to send you clients. So a lot of what I just said, like pre, at, and post meeting, that sort of stuff, be strategic and intelligent about all this stuff. But they say speed to sale is very important, and I don't disagree. But I would encourage you to be thinking speed the relationship, right? How good are you at building really, when you meet somebody, like, oh my gosh, I feel like I've known them forever. Like that happens in business. And my question is, are you any good at doing that? Can you do that in business? And the answer is maybe, maybe not, but speed the relationship. And it's an art, and a bloody good one, and you could get better at it. But let me just tell you, people love intelligent people. Said that earlier. If you introduce me to a young, let's just say a 10-year-old, and I say, who are your 3 favorite people in the world? Almost always you're going to get a teacher in there, right? So people generally, they love teachers. So become a teacher really organically, really naturally. How do you do that? Canned stories. So I like to talk about standing against versus standing for. And what I mean by that is not singing Kumbaya and the world's so amazing and this is going to be great and I can't wait to get started and this partnership's going to be unbelievable. But one of the things I want to do early is I want to explain to them some of the things that people are doing wrong. One of the things that I've stood against for a long time, multiple streams of income. And look, truth be told, I have multiple streams of income, and most very wealthy people have got multiple streams of income, but they don't start there. So what I say, first of all, the average business owner, multiple streams of income, all it's doing is diluting their focus and making sure that they're doing many things and nothing all that well. So what I say as a frame is get one stream of income, roughly 400 grand a month, and then talk to me about your other stream of income, but not until then. Put all of your eggs in one basket and then watch that basket very, very, very quickly. Like Bezos wasn't doing Airbnb on the side, right? Zuckerberg wasn't selling stuff on eBay and collectibles, right? Hard no. What they were doing is they went all in on their thing. Same thing with Jordan. Jordan made all this money from Nike and that sort of thing, but understand that he got his thing, which was basketball, to such a level prior to all of that. When I say prior to that, he signed his Nike contract early on, but getting really involved and whatnot, that was well down the road. And he will tell you that became a little bit of a distraction. He dialed it back in and he was completely, focused on doing his thing. His thing was basketball. And by the way, speaking of commercials, one of our clients for a long, long time was the captain of the Harlem Globetrotters for 10 years. And he actually came to Cancun with us. And he was young Jordan. If you remember a very famous commercial, young Jordan versus old Jordan, he was young Jordan. And I didn't know that. When I met him, I looked at him, I went, oh my gosh, you look like Michael Jordan. And I love Michael Jordan, by the way. He's my favorite athlete. Well, I love Tom Brady, by the way, but Michael Jordan will be my favorite athlete of all time by a fair, distant margin over Tom Brady. And Road Dog would be very sad to hear that, but I love Jordan. Anyway, so he was young Jordan in the commercial. If you want to see it, you just look it up. It's a very famous commercial. And yeah, so it was a Gatorade commercial. He was that. Is that cool? Don't know. I think so. But anyway, so canned stories. So standing against percentages. Okay, I've talked about this a lot. See, the average business owner, let's just say they made $100,000 profit last year and they have 20% margins. We increased their margins from 20 to 30%. The naked eye would look at that and think that's a 10% increase. That is not a 10%, and they will agree. They're like, yeah, 20 to 30, that's 10%, right? But 20 to 30 is not a 10% increase. It is a 50% increase. And by the way, you'll say that and they'll nod their head and they'll still be confused and not understand by about an 80% predictability. So you got to go one step further. 20 to 22 is 10. 20 to 24 is 20. 20 to 26 is 30. 20 to 24 would be 40. And 20 to 30 is a 50% increase. So the guy who was making $100,000 a minute ago, we didn't hire a sales team. We didn't do funnel hacking. We didn't start Facebook ads. We didn't hire people. We didn't jack up our prices. We didn't build a bunch of products, build a bunch of services. We just went to our financials and jacked up our margins. And we were making $100,000 a minute ago, and now we're making $150,000, right? So when you do that, I got to tell you, the person that you're speaking to will probably lift their eyebrows like, ooh, okay, this is not the way the average person is talking about building a business. This person might be somebody that I want to speak to. And by the way, let's say you're driving traffic to a landing page, and people love to talk about driving traffic to a landing page. It's just a sexy topic. End of story. So if you got a 2% conversion and you jack those up to 3%, that is a whopping 1% increase. Who would care? That's not exciting at all. But it is. What were their numbers prior? Let me tell you, 2 to 3 is not a 1% improvement. What is it? And the answer is a 50% improvement. So if the campaign was making $10,000, it's now going to be making $15,000, right? With nuances, by the way. It was making $50,000 prior. It's now going to be making $75,000 with nuances. If it was a $100,000 profit campaign, it's now going to be making like $150,000 with one little small tweak of taking conversions from 2 to 3%. And yes, there are nuances there, but no doubt you get the idea. They aren't thinking like that. That would be an example of something that I would say to an accountant. That one, maybe the accountant would like to hear that, but that's not going to be news that, an accountant thinks the percentages very naturally. But a business broker, a promotional company, an advertising medium, the person running the B&I style networking. And by the way, I might just start this. If I wanted to get a JV in 7 days, where would I start? Little red arrow, you are here. I would build a list of local partnerships that I would want to establish, right? So I would get a list of accountants, I wouldn't contact them yet. I would make a list of business accountants, take me 4, 5, maybe 8 hours, work hard, get the information, get their wife's name, get their name, get their business name, get a bit of a feel for how many accountants they've got. Get a little bit of info. Believe me, when you call and you're armed with more information, information is power. Right. Anyways, business broker, promotional companies, etc. I would start with that. So here's a biggie. I would look to solve their biggest problem. What's an accountant's biggest problem? Okay. Well, the biggest problem the accountant has is that they do. And you've heard me say this before, I would imagine, or if you follow the podcast, doesn't matter. It just doesn't lose its incredible power. And that's it. The average accountant, their biggest problem is that tax season, okay? They are so busy for 90 days, they can't get home to have breakfast, lunch, or dinner with their family, and they're just exhausted afterwards. Why? Why does that happen? Because business owners come in once a year with their shoebox filled with sales receipts and say, I need my taxes done and I need them done immediately. And then they put pressure on, like they want rose petal type treatment. And they want to pay as little tax as possible. And they want every little loophole to be, taken advantage of. And the accountant can't do that because everybody else is doing the same darn thing. So they're so busy, they can't keep up. Okay. So if that's the problem and you agree, and by the way, meet an accountant and ask them that deals with business owners, and he'll tell you absolutely that's an issue. So you got to solve that problem. How do you solve that problem? The answer is that what you do is that when you say, look, don't send me everybody you ever met. Don't send me all of your clients. I want you to take me for a test drive. What is that? Send me 3 clients, and then don't send me your best and don't send me your worst. Just send me 3 clients. Okay, and in 3 to 6 months, we'll know. But what I'm going to personally guarantee is that these guys will come in 4 to 10 to 12, maybe 24, depending upon demands. But they will come in multiple times per year, And at the end of the year, they will not participate in tax season because their taxes will already be done because you'll be doing them on the trot. And by the way, when the accountant brings in his clients 4, 10, 12, that many times per year, they charge them, instead of charging them $2,000 a year, they're now charging them $10,000 a year. But that's a really, really good decision for the business owner because now, he can take advantage of tax loopholes and help them with strategizing how they could go about, how they could, run their business more efficiently. And you are their business coach, their business consultant, and presumably you would want to help them do that. So you see how and then, by the way, when I help the accountant do that for 3 people and it works, what do you think he's going to do? He's going to want to send me 30 people. And my newfound problem is I can't keep up. And that's why we help people build teams of 10 coaches, right? Okay, so that's the accountant. Now let's go to, let's just do the local advertising medium. It's the online directory. It's the local magazine, local newspaper, industry magazine, whatever, right? What's their biggest problem? They work so hard to get an advertiser, and then the advertiser quits in 90 days and says, I'm going to come back, but they're never actually going to be coming back, right? Do you agree with that? So retention, churn. So what do? You say, well, look, I personally believe that advertising to profit is a superpower. And by the way, I personally absolutely believe that, and I hope that you do too. Anybody who's not using advertising to grow their business is debatably making a mistake. But of course, they will say, the business owner will tell you, the landscaper, painter, butcher, baker, candlestick maker, how do you grow your business? They will say word of mouth and referrals and pound their chest like this is something to brag about, right? Which it's not. It's because if they did that with word of mouth and referrals and they got to X, let's call it $1 million, they probably the word of mouth and referrals would have, kind of caught on as well. Like they could have been at 3 million with advertising, doing significantly better, have a way better business, protect their margins all the way up, right? Okay, so advertising the profit is a superpower. So what you're going to do is introduce me to 3 people, not everybody you ever met. I don't want to do some big promotion. Bring me 3 people, right? And basically, let's see. And I will personally make sure that they continue to advertise for at least 12 months. And frankly, tell me what their budget is, and let's call it 10 grand a year. And I will personally undertake to try, and I am not perfect, I can't guarantee this, but I will try and double their budget because I believe that having a bigger ad is going to bring them more than having a smaller ad, right? So not only am I going to maintain your advertisers, but I'm going to help you get them to spend more. And again, I'm a huge fan of advertising. All we got to do is make sure that we come up with a killer offer and something that people really want to respond to. And, we want to advertise it with you and somebody else as well. Anyways, do you think they might like the sound of that? Let me tell you that other people aren't saying that. And then a business broker. Again, they speak to people all the time. The businesses aren't ready to sell. Okay, send those people to me and I'll send them back. Or again, you get a listing and it's for $1 million and you want that million to turn into 1.25, as in, increase it by 25%, 250 grand in that example. Look, let me help stage it. Let me work with them for 3, probably not going to, sell immediately. So let me help them while they're trying to sell it for 3, 6, 9 months. And let's get that price up and stage the business and make it significantly sexier, right? A promotional company, they're selling mugs, t-shirts and whatnot. Well, their average sale is say $5 grand. We'll help them get the average sale up to 10 grand and then help people brand at a higher level with, golf balls, t-shirts, mugs, etc. Like help them do that and say, look, what did they spend last year? I'm going to undertake for them to continue to do that, but, potentially double their order over 12 months. And no, I can't guarantee it, but that's going to be my goal. And I'm going to work with you. And by the way, you believe me, you don't believe me, send me 3 people, take me for a test drive. Let's see what I do in 90 days. So need a JV, that's what I would do. But really importantly, I'd have a game plan before I spoke to the individual. And definitely saying going, in our software, we got 497 million weighted algorithmic sequences, right? So a fancy way of saying that it weights everything so that different things come to the top. So compelling offer will come before JV, because when I go to the accountant and I say, look, if I go to him and say, look, I'm going to help your clients go to the next level, it's who's not going to say that? It's so boring, right? It's like the equivalent of the business owner saying they've been in business for 25 years, right? Like, who really cares, right? Like, the business owner wants to know what's in it for them, or the client, the end consumer wants to know what's in it for them. You want to solve a problem effectively, and that's what a market dominating position does. Compelling offer weights higher than joint venture, because if you go to an accountant and say you're going to help their business go to the next level, it's like, when you go to the accountant and say, look, introduce me to any business owner and I'll find them $100,000 in 45 minutes without them spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising. And I've got software with 497 million weighted algorithmic sequences that will effectively create a roadmap they could then deploy on. You see how that's maybe a little bit different? Well, compelling offer will weight higher in the software, because you're better to get compelling offer done before you go to the joint venture for that reason, right? Anyway, so there you go. Hopefully that helps. Okay, here it is verbatim. Need to sound intelligent on social media, in brackets, with the view of getting a client, close bracket. What do you do? There we go. Okay, so I'm going to use what he's saying here. Somebody's asking that they want to use social media to get clients, and then sounding intelligent is an important part of that. Okay, so what do you do? There you go. So social media. A reason, I think I said this just a few minutes ago, but a reason to contact me is not because you need a client. Okay, very, very important as a frame. Why do you contact me? Something exciting, something you want me to know about, something you think is going to help me, something that you heard about that might be of interest to me, something is on offer. Like, do you know what I mean? Like something exciting, something new, something amazing. Like, that's the reason you contact me. Don't contact me because you need a client, right? So using social media, you want to do the same thing. You want to be Santa Claus, not the Grinch, as a frame. So, in 2 words, add value, right? And again, I've seen this mistake so often, but like sharing too much on social, like, Facebook and Instagram or wherever you're doing it, it's just not such a great idea. I mean, I would encourage you to be putting like, just things are amazing. What a beautiful career. I'm putting the final touches on my book. God is great. This is unbelievable. I'm moving forward. I can't believe the growth this year. I can't believe how amazing everything is. What a beautiful holiday we just had. You know what I mean? Like, people are going to be attracted to people. Look, people are attracted to interesting people, right? People are not attracted to boring people and boring, things. So, you want to be interesting. That's for sure. Okay, on social media, here's what I would say as the plan. You're like, I want to make social media work for me. I'm a business coach. What do? Here's what you do. You get a sheet together. Call it a Google Doc, Word doc, Google Doc. You got some, a place where you can visit on a regular basis, a file. Okay, I'm going to call it a Google Doc. And what you do is like, what are the consistent things that business owners are asking on the internet? And okay, press pause on what I'm saying here. I used to run a training I used to call it the 10 biggest mistakes business coaches make when using social media. Okay, and I had 10, but number 1 was this: spending too much time in groups, spending too much online, hanging out with coaches when you should be hanging out with business owners. Okay, so that was mistake number 1. So use that as a frame. So before everything I'm about to say is going to make sense, you got to make sure that you're not hanging out with your peers. You need to be hanging out with your potential clients and prospects. Okay, so got that? So with that being said, you're going to create this Google Doc. And on this Google Doc, you are going to put information that solves the problems for local business owners. Like, I'm a chiropractor. How do I create a partnership or a joint venture? I'm a chiropractor. How do I sell more? I'm a chiropractor. How do I cut back expenses? I'm a chiropractor. How do I make maximum use of my location? I'm a chiropractor. How do I, a lot of what I'm describing, like in our profit acceleration software, the Jumpstart 12 is what I'm describing in a lot of ways here. You go there and there's 12 key areas that any business owner can make a massive impact, right? Okay. So you come up with answers in and around those, and then you're going to put them in your Google Doc. And I want these answers to be good, and I want them to be long-ish, not insanely long, but absolutely when somebody reads it, they go, holy smokes, like this must have taken forever. So when people are asking and you're replying and you're presenting your solutions, they see it and they go, wow, like this person is intelligent, and this person put a lot of thought and energy into this, right? And then let's say that you do it specifically. Now it's going to be for a chiropractor. So you're going to take the templated example that you had on, cutting costs back for your practice, and then you're going to individualize it. Well, on that same Google sheet, you just put chiropractor below, and then you have, how to cut costs in a chiropractic clinic. And then you're just going to copy that exact copy that you used, speaking directly to a chiropractor. So instead of your Google sheet is going to have general information, and then your answers are going to be more specific for the chiropractor, landscaper, butcher, baker, candlestick maker, right? And so what's going to happen is you're going to end up with this file, and this file over, again, this isn't like, a 7-day solution, although this will work immediately, but over a long time frame, think 3 months, 9 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years. Imagine how much you'll have after 5 years, right? And then business owners inside that group, and business owners that are chiropractors and whatnot are going to be reading your replies and go, wow, holy smokes, like that's really good. Like, how do you create a compelling offer as a, how do you create a compelling offer as an XYZ business owner, right? Again, have that and then post it. Anyway, so that will work very, very well. But the mistake, okay, and again, one of the 10 ways, 10 mistakes that they're making is that just making it up as you go. Like, don't go and go, oh my gosh, that's a really good question, I know the answer, and then answer it, spend a lot of time, and then not capture your answer so that you can use it again. Because if that chiropractor, that landscaper is asking it, I guarantee you other landscapers and other chiropractors are thinking it, not just answering it. Or again, they're going to be explicitly answering or asking it in the future, and you're going to have this awesome answer. And it's going to take you 5 minutes, maybe 15 minutes to customize it, probably 5, not 15, but, you're going to be a superstar. And believe me, that person is suddenly going to start thinking, this is somebody I should be following, right? So anywho, look, social media, it's hard. What did Gary Vee say about, anyway, I think it's 2 cents 60 times, like 100 times, like he put in his 2 cents 100 times a day. Let's just say that's not quite what he said, but what he meant by that is you're making 100 replies with a 2 cent response every day. And that's how he built up Wine Library TV, and he got it going. And you might hear that and go, I ain't doing that. Makes me throw up in my mouth to think about it. Okay, that's fine. So that's not going to be your thing. Because you don't like Instagram, you don't like Facebook, you don't want your kids to be seeing, social media and super active and whatnot. Whatever it is, whatever your thing is, keep it. And there's some, you should be making direct mail, you should be making live events, you should be making trade shows, you should be making networking, you should be making other initiatives, joint ventures work for you. Anywho, social media, and at the end of the day, you got to go from social to private message, and probably to phone call. People are not going to be buying coaching from you off of a private message without a phone call. And I know people say that, but unless you have a profile and this person knows you really, really well, that's not happening. So anyway, so just, you gotta accept that you need a 1, 2, 3. You gotta go from, comments, right, back and forth, to private message, to 15-minute phone call to elaborate. And then that 15-minute phone call should be taking you to your next step, which is going to be your live event, or that's going to be your consultation to find $100,000 in 45 minutes without spending $1 on marketing or advertising, right? So you've got a frame to follow. Anywho, that would be social media. Next question. Need to go from 6 figures to 7 figures. What do you do? once again, I'm pretty sure Road Dogg would put some color to that language. But anywho, okay. If you're listening, again, you're a coach, consultant, accountant, but you're doing deliverable, like coaching and consulting, whether it be, business, marketing, digital, etc. So, okay, 3 baskets. You've got lead gen, 1. This is conversion, 2, fulfillment, 3. Okay, so that's what we help our clients with. We help them generate leads, we help them convert those leads, and then fulfill on the commitments they make with the business owners, right? So understanding that as a framework, you got to solve each of those and make sure you know which basket you're currently operating on. And then careful not, and again, going from 6 figures to 7, that's a huge 100, like 6 figures is $100,000 and 7 figures is $1 million. There's 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900,000 in between. I mean, this is a massive jump that I don't think people recognize, right? Like, again, understanding, like, let's go million, billion, trillion. 1 million seconds is 11 days. 1 billion seconds is how long? Let me ask you. If it's 11 days for 1 million seconds, how long is it for 1 billion? And the answer is 32 years. So there's nothing. 1 million and 1 billion have got very little in common. Okay, so like 11 days and 32,000 years. You tell me how much those have in common. And then, by the way, if it's 32,000 years for 1 billion a billion seconds, what's 1 trillion seconds? I'll give you a second. Think about it. And the answer is like 32,000 years. Like, it's insanity. So when your government starts giving out trillions of dollars and spends trillions of dollars, you should be alarmed. Anyways, what was I saying? Yes. Okay. This is what I'm saying. So careful not to build a business, as in go from 6 to 7 figures, so that you have high revenues and low margins. All you're going to do is end up with a vulnerable business. Okay. Not a good look. So again, you do not want to, I've talked about this many a times in the past, but again, I believe that it's so powerful. You got a client, and again, simple numbers, they did $600,000 last year and they had X profit. And now they grow to $1 million. You know what often happens? Like, really often, semi-consistently, is that at $1 million, they're only making the same amount as they were making at $600,000. Okay, or maybe they're making a little bit more, it's negligible, and maybe they're even making a little bit less, and that's absolutely happened. Well, you know what? But they were really profitable at $600,000, so it's not that big of a deal. And no, here's the problem: at $1 million, you're more vulnerable than you are at 600,000. You've got more staff, you've got more sales. Presumably you've got more sales commissions out there. You've got sales job, you got fulfillment on jobs that could come back and, oh, this wasn't done right. You got to repair that. You got to do this. You got to do that. Now you're getting pulled into the past versus, building for the future. You've got a salesperson that leaves and goes into competition with you. That's going to happen more at $1 million than it is at 600. It's going to affect you more when you got $1 million company than you got a 600,000. So what happens is when you grow a business with eyes on revenues and not eyes on margins, you can become vulnerable. Okay, so if I just define the problem, what's the solution? The solution is to identify, let's say the margins for easy math. So they got 50% gross profit margins and 20% net profit margins, which would be on the semi-high side for a lot of businesses, depending upon who. So what you got to do is so those 20% margins, let's say in the example, you've got to protect them. Right. So when you go from 600,000 to $1 million and you go from 20% net margin to 22% net margins, 25% net margins, boom, superstar, unreal. When you go from 20% margins to 12% margins, now, that's not a good result. That is not a good result. So anyways, hopefully you're picking up what I'm putting down there. You be very, very careful. People want to build a big business. It's just ego. They don't understand numbers. They don't understand how the business math works. And they just don't get business. And that businesses fall over from success all the time. It's as consistent and normal as they fall over from lack of success, right? And I know that doesn't sound like it makes sense. I'm telling you now, and I just defined why. Because they're not protecting their margins, they become vulnerable. Staff start leaving, going into competition, etc., and they get wobbly. So make sure you're keeping one eye on margin. So to go from 6 to 7 figures, what I would say, by the way, I understand that's a huge jump. Going from 100 to 250,000 would probably be would be a better answer to give you, and then 250 to 5 and 5 to 7. No doubt you're getting, the smaller incremental pulse. That being said, I will tell you this: it is, when you're trying to, grow 20% or 50%. It's easier to try build a company 20x, 50x in a lot of ways. Why? Because my mentor, stop and think, stop and think, stop and think, stop and think. You start thinking at a higher level. You start talking at a higher level. You start communicating at a higher level. So that might just be something to factor there. Okay. I don't want to poo-poo, like going from 6 to 7. Is that some massive jump? Look, it absolutely is. But you know what? Thinking in 7-figure, increments and 7-figure amounts is significantly better. At 6 figures, you're getting, very low level of leverage on a little thing in between your ears called your brain. Not sure I'm doing the greatest job of explaining that, but hopefully you're picking up what I'm putting down. Okay, so here's my answer. You want to go from 6 figures to 7 figures. What you're going to need and what your client's going to need is a feedback loop. Here is the problem. A business coach goes from, they're making 80 grand and they go to 150. They're making 100 grand and they go to 200. They're making 100 and they go to 250. They're making 200 and they go to 500. Okay. What do? They go from 80 grand to 150 grand. And what do? They buy a new car. They buy a boat. They decide to buy a new expensive house with more rooms. They start flying first class, and on and on it goes. They buy the watch. They buy the sunglasses, not like, plural, not a pair of sunglasses, not a watch, but like multiple. And then they're looking at Rolexes and, Prada, et cetera, et cetera. So you get the idea, like, that's not the way to do it. So you're making 100 grand. You want to live on 60, and then 40,000 feeds back into the system, right? Or you're making 200 grand, live on 80. So that's a jump, 60 to 80. That's a good, jump in lifestyle, but feed $120,000 back in to your model. That's how you go from 6 to 7 figures. And frankly, I think that's what a lot of people don't understand, and quite frankly, they don't want to accept to be reality. And then how do you do it? What do you do? You're going to hire a new staff member. You're going to improve your products. You're going to build a Facebook campaign, and you're going to start buying advertising. You're going to build a funnel. You're going to join a mastermind group and get around higher level people. You really want to jack your results up? Start getting around higher level operators. And I know that you have heard that before, right? But my question is, have you done it? And that's one of the things that I hear consistently with our community is that, again, we have some very high level operators and some great folks that are incredibly giving, which I could not express my gratitude for that enough with words, only with like hugs and kisses on the cheek. But like our community is a solid one, and that's where they really feel an enormous amount of support. So, jacking that up, or maybe it's, CRM, it's hiring a virtual assistant. Anyways, hopefully you're picking up what I'm putting down there. What you need to do is, again, you're making 200 grand, live on 80 and feed $120,000 back into your system. Don't buy a boat. The problem with buying a boat is, guess what you got to do? You got to go ride around in the boat. And I am not suggesting that you don't go have a good time and spend time with your family. And if you got a boat, use it. It's not what I'm saying, right? But is that what tends to happen? And I think that the boat tends to get We stop thinking about it. It's like Michael Jordan, right? He worked on his thing. His thing was basketball, and then the commercials, and then the Nike deal, and then the Gatorade commercials, etc. came. And when they started getting in the way, he scaled it back, and he worried about his thing. Zuckerberg, again, he wasn't doing Airbnb on the side. He put all his eggs in one basket and then watched that basket. Are you, right? But I will tell you, hacking your environment is a way to, really make some serious headway real fast. Anyway, so that's it. So if you do, you will, that feedback loop will propel you forward. And I think that's ultimately what you want to do. And you got to train yourself to constantly do it. But the thing is, you need data, and then you need a system, and then you got to work at it. You got to do it successfully. Like, your best is not good enough here. You got to do what it takes, and don't expect to get it right and hit a home run straight out of the box, right? Your first team member might not work out, right? Your first advertising program might be a dud. My question is, what are you going to do when your advertising campaign flops? Do you quit, or do you dig in, come hell or high water, make it work, right? Or, your first product, your first video, your first course, your first, YouTube video, is it going to be a grand hit? Probably not. The first group that you join, is it going to be an absolute slam dunk? And by the way, if it's ours, the answer is it's going to be. But in all seriousness, right? Like, is that first group going to be the perfect group for you? I don't know. But, you got to find your community. You got to find your thing. So anyways, hope that helps. Feedback loop, very, very important. So that's it. That's all I got. I'm not sure how long this went, but hopefully that provides some value. Road Dogg at this stage ask me for the one thing. And I'm going to say the one thing. The frame, the rapid, I can't remember what Road Dogg called it, but rapid fire questions. And they were all like, look, in 7 days, we got to get a JV, we got to get a client, we got to, get results for our client, etc. Right? Like, I love that, because that like puts some pressure on, and it's like an inbuilt deadline, an inbuilt, what do you call it? Like, you got to make this thing happen. I really like that. Like, don't be shy to put some pressure on yourself, is what I'm trying to say. Right? So here's my challenge. Go get a client, whether you got 0 clients, 5 clients, 15 clients, or 30 clients. Go get a client in the next 7 days, and blow up the boats. And I want you to be thinking about a professional athlete in the gym and the level of effort and intensity that they work out with. I want you to work with that intensity when you're building your list of JVs, when you're building your list of prospects, when you're contacting your list, when you're reaching out, when you get them on the phone. What level of energy are you going to bring to that call? How these canned examples, are you going to have them? Are you going to practice them in the mirror, or are you going to practice them with the prospect on the line? Right? Like, again, Tom Brady throws the football in private before he throws it in front of 50, 80, 100,000 people on the weekend, right? What are you going to do? But there's a really good chance that, you're not practicing in the mirror the way that Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, debatably, right? The guy, he practiced, he retired now, right? But like, he practiced every single week. He didn't miss. He didn't say, look, I don't need to practice Tuesday to Friday. This is stupid, right? Like, I'm the greatest of all time. He was there before anybody else, and he left before anybody else, right? That's why it was Tom Brady. So I challenge you to go and do the same.
Karl Bryan built Profit Acceleration Software 2.0 to train business coaches how to find any small business owner more than $100,000 in 45 minutes without them spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising. This becomes a business coach's superpower. So as a business coach, you'll never again have to worry about working with business owners that can't afford your high-end coaching fees. Check us out at focused.com.